Welcome everyone in this new Let's Talk AI episode. Today I'm super excited. I'm with Vin Vashishta. Vin, can you describe yourself in a few sentences?
Wow. 25 years in technology, spent the last almost 11 years now in data science and machine learning. Started out trying to go to school for data science. It was before data science became a thing. So I had to go into traditional software development, software engineering roles. 2012 came around, started V squared, got into data science, machine learning, applied machine learning research, strategy, developing organizations. And now I teach. It's been a crazy career. Loved the whole thing.
Wow, there is a lot to talk about. We have 1 hour, so we will take the best of this time to try to capture value, know you better, know what drives you, maybe get some insights of the future and some tips for people in the field. We'll try to capture all of that. But first of all, I would like to have your, I would like to know you a little bit better um, on a few things that are out of LinkedIn and your professional career. Do you have any hobbies, some things that you like to do to kind of balance this lifestyle of this the works that you do and all of this?
Enjoy time with my family. It's probably the most enjoyable hobby I have. It's just spending time with them. Enjoy a good story. So I like watching shows, series, reading books about just interesting characters, good stories. Haven't read a lot of good nonfiction books lately, or
Mm,
good fiction books, excuse me, lately. So don't have any
mm,
good book recommendations. Enjoy poker. Still play Texas
mm.
Hold'em. Participate
Okay.
in tournaments. Absolutely love it. I think that's one of my favorite game type activities. I'm a baseball fan, as you can maybe see behind me.
Yes.
I'm a suffering Giants fan right now because our ownership is trash. So those are the majority of my hobbies. I wish I had time for more hobbies. I definitely have a lot more interests, but business, family, it keeps me busy.
Mm. Okay, thanks. I would like to ask you later on maybe how do you relate poker and your analytic point of view? Um, I think that can be interesting. But
Yes.
maybe I would like to ask you first. 25 years of career. That's very big. Um, to me, it is a whole lot more times than my time of career. Um, how do you feel after 25 years of career in one field? And what are maybe the key lessons of the growing that you've experienced in this time?
It doesn't really feel like I've been in one field
Mm.
because technology for me has been an arc. Started out with in college at my own really small business,
What was
installed
the business about?
networks and PCs and
Mm.
put software on, did antivirus stuff, did web development, a little bit of database development, database management.
Mm.
Went from there to installing systems for a company, really small business. I've done quality assurance, software engineering, project management, technical writing and specifications writing, product management, basic data analytics, data science, more advanced machine learning and research. Then the strategy side, organizational development. I feel like I've had 7 careers in the
Yeah.
time, since 1995 when I had my first, we call
Mm.
it first real job. It was in 1995 until now. Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm getting old. And it definitely feels like a lot of different careers. And I think that's what's made me successful is I'm
Mm.
always looking for something interesting to be doing instead of looking at what I'm doing as the thing I will do for the rest of my career.
Mm.
That's always helped me keep my learning journey going
Mm-hmm.
because if I'm always doing something new, I'm always learning something, I'm getting prepared to do something else.
Mm.
I've been at the bottom of a profession enough times now and had to learn my way up. I respect people that are taking that journey. I really respect anyone who's transitioning careers. I
Mm.
have a good perspective and appreciation for multiple views, multiple backgrounds. Having
Mm.
a diverse team is important more than just diversity from demographic standpoint. It's
Hmm.
diversity of thought, diversity of background, and where you came from, how you came into the field. I think all
Mm,
of those are very important. That mindset, I have a growth mindset by nature and by necessity. That
mm,
served me very well. So I think it's the just the goal itself of continuously improving, developing, going to do the next interesting thing
mm.
has accidentally developed a whole bunch of successful characteristics.
Awesome. And you mentioned that at the very beginning, when you were in high school or in college, you had your own business already.
Hmm.
How how would you explain this motivation to where some of people would just study and focus and then get a master and then start doing things? How would you explain that at this early stage you wanted to build value and build a business?
I don't know that I intentionally started the business. I think I
Mm,
accidentally started the business.
mm,
I was looking for a way to make more money than I could at the student computer lab or
mhm,
working a on-campus job, and I found out how much money that people doing basic tech support back in the
mhm,
90s were making, where they
mm,
were charging $120 to $150 an hour to install RAM in a computer or
mm,
to upgrade the PC's CPU, or it's even really basic things. So I just put the ads out and said, "Hey, I can do all of this stuff. What would you like me to do? I got a CompTIA certification for hardware, one for software and installing operating systems." I made a lot of money. So it was almost greed that got
mm,
me into starting that first business. I did not want to make $7, $8 an hour and really have to work a ton of hours while I was trying to learn, uh, earn my way to a computer science degree. I ended up with a physics degree. Took a meandering path, but I just did not want to do the grind of it. I wanted to find a better way. I think
mm.
entrepreneurship provides opportunities for people to bet on themselves.
Hmm. That's super interesting because in your story, um, if we look just from the big picture, I always like to start to know how the big picture and we can see that later on in your parkour, in your background, you've done research, and it impressed me that you started building websites and tech support, but it's not like doing this today because back then, correct me, there weren't as many documentations and YouTube videos for you to learn anything.
There wasn't
So,
anything. Stack Overflow didn't
uh,
exist.
so that's impossible for me to think. Like going without Stack Overflow. I think in 5 years, people will say going without ChatGPT or something like that we would seem impossible. But how did you learn back then, and how did your personal growth guide you through doing research and a PhD?
Oh, I didn't do a PhD.
Oh, sorry, like doing research.
Well, just doing research was, I did the early version of data science, and I think it's the same version that most data scientists did between 2015 and 2017. I just started earlier, and I worked on some research projects and implementations with actual hard sciences
Mm,
researchers and PhDs. So when I would present findings to them and when I would present the model to them, they would absolutely destroy me. They
mm,
would say, "This isn't rigorous. This isn't scientific. This is trash. I can't use
wow.
any of this." And it was a really, if you've never been in an academic review setting before with applied researchers and applied engineers, physicists, you've never had that level of aggression turned on you because they work so hard
Mm,
to produce the results and the research that they do. To have someone who's a data scientist come in and sort of halfway it, do less than rigorous processes, they beat that into me. The rigor and the need for reliable models. It actually has to work. I have to have evidence to support the model's functionality. I have to explain the function that the model has learned and support it with something more than just the data. I had
mm,
that scientific rigor beaten into me. That's how I
Mm.
got here. Back when I first started, it was the Wild West for software engineering, for web development, for database development. There was no security. I mean, I can't tell you
Mm.
the number of SQL instances that I worked on that were on the network, completely accessible, no password, nothing, no security at all. If you knew where it was, you could log in and get whatever you wanted to.
Wow.
Websites with zero security, FTP dumps where you could have just updated the website if all you had to do was know how to do the FTP part. It was
Wow.
security by obscurity. We had the worst practices.
Oh my
Data
God.
science has gone through some very similar times, the Wild
Mm.
West period. Where we are now is where I saw software development in the early 2000s.
Mm.
Products are in users' hands at scale. When that starts
Mm.
happening, people demand that your products work and do what you claim they are supposed to do.
Mm.
It's no longer enough to have the PowerPoint presentation that says we're using AI. No one cares.
Mm.
Customers are looking for some sort of functionality that they can't get from someplace else or from some other
Mhm.
company.
Mm.
Now we have to figure out how to do this correctly. We have to figure
Mm.
out the best practices. We've had enough embarrassing stumbles with data breaches. We have to include the security side of it. We've had enough
Mm.
ethics issues. We have to include AI ethics and governance into our,
Mm.
our approaches. We have to explain reliability. We have to be rigorous. So I got lucky because I saw this happen with software. Now I'm
Mm.
seeing it happen with data science, and I've been able to get in front of it because I recognized that I was seeing the same trend repeat itself.
Mhm. Okay. So that's a perfect transition for me to ask you, what drives you today?
A lot of coffee. I would definitely say coffee is a big driver and motivator for me.
Okay, I mean, what, like, what are your drivers in terms of like career wise, your company? What are you doing today? Because we've seen that you've done so many things. You've started building websites, tech supports. You've done research. Then you are working with softwares, and then you get into data science. You faced a wall because there was some expert there that, and you learned the hard way, if I understood correctly. So, with all those years of experiences and then building businesses, um, at what stage are you today, and what do you want to achieve in the future?
I've got to say, I'm so much older that not everyone's going to understand this answer. So I just want to preface it that way. I am looking for challenges.
Mm.
I take on clients very selectively. I'm enjoying teaching tremendously. That's one of the things that motivates me is
Mm.
starting to teach people in the data science field how to deliver value
Mm.
instead of just delivering solutions. I think we've gotten to the point where data scientists are educated and trained to deliver solutions. Now it's time
Mm.
to start delivering value. I'm enjoying teaching leadership and strategy, helping companies monetize all of this technology because I feel like they've put a lot of money into this field and helped
Mm.
our field grow and develop to the point that it's at now. I want to give back. I almost feel like some of the work that I'm doing is open source monetization,
Mm.
teaching companies, okay, you've given us a lot. Why don't we teach you how now to make some cash off of all of this? Because data science is it's an enormous cost saver and revenue generator for companies. But
Mm.
companies struggle with that because they put the technology first
Mm.
instead of starting with business strategy. And so you can hear
Mm.
those are the pieces that I'm passionate about. I think companies should be rewarded for all the work that they've put into this. I think they deserve that payout that they've been promised. And I want to help the field deliver that side of it, become more business friendly, business focused. But also, we're going to have societal benefits from this. When we do data science in a rigorous way, ethics, governance, security, putting people at the center necessitates that we do things better from a
Mm.
societal and impact standpoint.
Mhm.
Monetizing means we are responsible to shareholders. And that
Mm.
also brings with it a societal responsibility. If we do something that embarrasses the company loses value. So we are by necessity secure, ethical. We're going to, by connecting ourselves to value, to revenue, we're going to mature the field very quickly. And we're going to
Hmm.
take a lot of the theory, turn it into applications, practical, real world implementations. We'll learn more in the next 5 years from watching people use products than we have in the last 10 in the laboratory doing research. I
Hmm.
think the next 5 years are going to be really exciting. I don't think at my stage in a career that you can continue working in technology if you're not excited about what the technology will deliver in the next 5 years.
Hmm.
So my focus is now moving into that C-level leadership side of our business, trying to clear the lane for more initiatives, more work, more data scientists to work their way in, building internal training and upskilling programs in businesses that bring more people into our field, make the
Hmm.
field more accessible to people that are going to be displaced by data science and machine learning.
Hmm.
HR right now and recruiting is seeing deep impacts. Finance is going to be next. We'll see data science begin to automate more pieces of jobs instead of automating an entire job out of existence. But what that means is we'll have a 10% reduction in demand here or a 15% reduction in demand for people here. That's not huge. We're not getting rid of anyone. But if you say 15% of this workforce is no longer employed, that's a significant number of people. So I'm
Hmm.
really excited about getting more people into data science and out of those jobs that are well paying, but not as well paid as data science and data professionals are. It's a career path. And I think companies can partner with the people that are about to be displaced and put them into roles that they can't fill externally anyway. We might as well train people. So there's a lot that I'm excited about.
Awesome. Thanks for all this information. I've heard you talk about how companies need to understand that AI will not replace people, but that teams need to implement AI in with them like they would treat a colleague, and to understand that the AI can get it wrong because everyone in the team can get it wrong, and by learning why it gets wrong, this is how we enhance value. And I think it's connected to what you say. Like AI is not going to replace the jobs of the people, but it's going to move things like every technological evolutions did at some point. So I felt that was super interesting when I was hearing about this. Would you have some additional comment to do regarding how do AI bring value to business? And then I would like to ask about research, but how would AI bring value to business, and how do companies need to face AI and work with it?
We need holistic strategy. That's where all of this begins. In one of the courses that I teach, I talk about a concept called the technology model. We have a business model, we have an operating model. We need a technology model
Mm,
as a strategic tenet. That's
mm,
where we begin. That's where businesses begin creating this holistic strategy for data, AI. But it's not just those technologies. We're most of the way through software and cloud. We're looking at devices and IoT. Every industry has different niche technologies that may be drivers for revenue and for value.
mm,
We have technologies that are coming up and that are on the horizon that will provide value to businesses. So we need an overarching strategic component that
mm,
explains how the business monetizes that technology. We're also transferring parts of your product and the way the business operates
mm,
into the technology model. It's almost like a handoff. The more capable technology gets, the more we're handing off, and the more of the business relies on, and the more the product relies on technology in order to succeed. So we
mhm,
need this strategy component. So a holistic data strategy and AI strategy should inform decision making across the enterprise about how, and it's not just the data organization, every team is affected by data analytics, models. So we have to have a strategy that informs decision making for everyone about all of the decisions we're making. What opportunities should we go after? How do we apply this technology to produce value? Who do we have to train? Who has to become data literate? Who has to become model literate? What does that mean? When are we
Mm,
adopting? These are all strategic questions. If we don't have a data and AI strategy, we're never going to monetize technology. It's
mm,
going to be technology driving strategy. The result of that is more technology. It's not what businesses need. Businesses
mhm,
are in existence to make money.
mm,
So we have to put that concept of monetization first. And data strategy and AI strategy is how companies need to begin to think about
mm,
creating frameworks for monetization. Opportunity discovery is critical. It has to happen at the C level. You need leaders who are data capable. They are analysts, data scientists who also have strategic leadership capabilities.
mm,
You need technical strategists, people who are strategic and have that data science background. All of these new roles are critical. Data product managers, data project managers. It's not just your data engineers, your data scientists, your researchers, your machine learning engineers, your ML
mm,
ops. There's more, so
mm,
much more to this ecosystem. And businesses need to start thinking about this in terms of continuous transformation. We're transforming the business not just one time for software, for digital,
mhm,
and then another time for data, and then another time for AI, and then another time for it's continuous. And if we
mm,
begin to plan with that longer term perspective, decisions we make today will amplify value in the future, which is another critical piece. We can't keep forklifting where we make decisions with a 2 year time horizon, and then year three, we have to take everything out in order to support this new whatever. Can't do that anymore. And so we are now, data science is strategic by nature. The data
mm,
that we provide to help the business make better decisions during strategy planning, it's critical. We can't
mm,
have these long time horizons. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what I think businesses need to be looking at and thinking about and considering and preparing for when it comes
mm,
to this new future where technology is no longer a one time generational disruption. It is every 2 to 3 years, we've got something new. So we need to be looking further out, and we need to have some strategic constructs and
mm.
frameworks that manage this complexity that we've taken on.
Awesome. Strategy is a keyword, I guess, here. Strategy, I would like to ask you more about strategy, like maybe some specific examples. I see two paths when I think of business in data science, AI. I see the path where I'm going to build a project that will do one thing, and my goal is that it does it well, very well, and that it is very user friendly, and then focus on marketing and adding features and getting feedbacks and improve my product. And I see the products that will enhance value in the companies and reduce costs. Um, I see those two ways. And before you mentioned that you were very specific while choosing your customers. Um, what are the projects? Maybe it's confidential. You tell me. But what are the projects that really get into you thinking, okay, I really like this client. I really like what they're doing, and I think we can do great things with them. I will work with them, and then you will go into a contract. I would be interested into how do you talk with the clients and how does it goes. But what does the client needs to tells you so that do you want to work with him?
I want to understand that the business is ready to adopt
Mm,
because it's not simply hire data scientists, profit. That's
mm,
not going to be successful. If a company believes that they don't need a strategy, if a company believes that it is a simple technology, hire people, give them tools, watch them produce,
mm,
they're going to fail.
mm-hmm,
And I can't convince a C level leader to run their business or to start thinking a different way if they don't have a growth mindset as a business, if they're not ready to improve.
mm,
versus making these all in, it's either right or wrong type decisions. Decisions evolve, strategy improves as you have new information. We make decisions with the best available information at the time. And if you get better information, well, the data paradigm, you need to then improve the decision that you made. You need to be willing to adapt, to change continuously when there are opportunities to improve the way that you're doing things.
mm,
Many companies punish people for bringing up a problem and suggesting an improvement. They are punished because that's seen as bad. Oh no, there's a problem. Problems are bad. No, problems are real. That's the reality of business. Is nothing is perfect, nothing's ever done. It's an effort at continuous transformation and continuous improvement. And
mhm,
that's every layer of the business. So I'm listening for C-level leaders or somebody at the board level who's come to understand that new paradigm. They may not have a full grasp of what needs to happen as a result. I mean, that's why they bring me in. I want them to have that passion for this new way and new culture, new business paradigm.
mm,
Because the people that are looking at data and data science like software and who are monolithic in their thinking, they won't
mhm,
survive.
mm,
And I can spend months trying to convince them to change. But if they're used to that big three consulting paradigm where they bring in consultants to basically prove out what they've already decided to do and to give
mm,
them cover if it goes wrong, that's not how data works. And so they won't
mm,
be successful. So I
mm,
look for companies that I can actually help and provide value to. And those are the ones they are usually coming to me with a level of excitement because they've either realized the opportunity or they're starting to get worried because their competitors are moving ahead of them and their business is no longer able to compete in the same way that it used to be. They can't provide value to customers in the same way. So there's an excitement or sometimes a little bit of fear combined in there. Those are the best clients because there's a motivation to change. And I can't be, as a consultant, the person that comes in from the outside and says,
mhm,
you will change now.
mm.
It simply doesn't work. There has to be a will.
Okay, okay. Hmm. It got me thinking about different different topics. It got me thinking about uh, leading. How do you lead people? Like once you've identified a few things you could work on, and the client is on board, and you're aligned, and you've discussed the contracts and all of that. Um, how do you set things up? Where do you start? So my question would be, what is your framework to identify values in the companies, in your clients, and um, putting the business in the center of the data science, and then how do you adapt the strategies that you've defined with your teams, and share, and share the work. Can you share about this process of understanding the business, building the strategy, and sharing with people so that the jobs gets done?
I'm writing an entire book about that. So trying to fit it into a short answer is going to be difficult. the there
maybe
are
just maybe
there are a
just some
lot of
insights of.
frameworks. Yeah, there are
Okay.
a lot of frameworks that are required to do this
Mm,
because it is so big. It touches every part of the business. And it can start in different places. That's what's unique
mhm,
about this. There can be several drivers. You can have people at the frontline workers who drive the business by identifying opportunities, bringing them to the data team, and that's where it begins. It can begin at that frontline, bottom up level. At some point, it always needs a top down support. We need sponsors and C-level champions. We need somebody running the data organization who has a C-level role, who can be part of strategy planning and that early opportunity discovery. So I have frameworks for just everything you can think of needs a framework because this is so different. Data is
mm,
so different. We need new ways of managing and creating value. So at every level, I have frameworks for The technology models, one framework, data and AI strategy has
Mhm.
multiple frameworks under it, continuous transformation, platform strategy, hiring and talent strategies. I've got frameworks for that. Something called the core rim model, where this is how you figure out, use this core rim model to figure out what we should transfer. What are the
Mm.
highest value opportunities that we should be transferring from your business model and operating model into your core, into your technology model? How do
Mm.
we prioritize that? I have workflow discovery frameworks. I have KPIs. So I have an entire hour's worth of lesson where in my strategy class, I spent an entire hour explaining AI strategy KPIs, how to use them, when to use them. It's huge. Where do you
Mm.
start? You have to start with the assessment. That's what I start with every engagement. Where is all this stuff? Where
Mm.
are the people who are data resources? Some of those are data professionals, but others are, like I said, those frontline workers, those people who will eventually be the targets for self service solutions, but they're the ones who feel the need the greatest. They'll be part of a coalition that
Mm.
will help you get buy in across the business
Mm.
as you begin to deliver solutions to them. And I need to know where they are. I need to know where all the data sources are. I need to understand where the infrastructure is. I have to gauge maturity, leadership buy in. It's so much. There's so much that goes into the assessment framework. Another framework for how you figure out where the business is today, opportunity discovery. I've got an opportunity discovery framework that surfaces opportunities from the front line, so from bottom up, and an
Mm.
opportunity discovery framework that's top down, that's more forward looking and long term. That's
Mm.
a C level opportunity discovery framework. And once
Mm.
we have the assessment, we have to figure out where we're going. How do you know how much you need to transform before you understand the size of the opportunity?
Mm.
How fast do your competitors transfer? It is huge. Starting this is That's why I say you have to have some level of buy in and momentum. There has to be
Mhm.
a desire at multiple levels within the business to make this work because every part of the business is transforming. Transformation is no longer one time. It's not just this transformation, it is several transformations.
Mm.
We can't simply start at data science. If you look at a workflow that we do internally,
Mm.
if there's no technology involved in the workflow, there is no way to capture data about it. So,
Mm.
digital transformation is a necessary first step. We have to
Mm.
introduce some sort of digital transformation to the workflow so that we can gather data.
Mm.
When we gather data, we have to figure out, well, now how do we use this data to improve the workflow? That can be a customer workflow. How do we give them more value in our product by introducing data back to them? I use an example in my strategy class at McDonald's. McDonald's did this dumb, stupid thing that's just so simple that I can't believe they didn't do it sooner. Their menu boards in the drive through
Mm.
used to be these manual, you'd have to go out and change the little plastic on there. And they got tired of doing that. So they bought their locations big screen TVs and
Mm.
replaced their old static menus with these big screen TVs. Somebody figured out, you know what we can do with these TVs, right? We can introduce data into the workflow. We're gathering data about orders through our point of sale systems.
Mm.
Let's now figure out a way that we can introduce data into our customer workflows. How do they do that? They recommend stuff. Would you like a dessert? Would you like another meal? Would you like
Mm.
Now we're introducing data into our customers' workflow and making it easier for them to get the foods that they love. And sometimes, unfortunately, the foods that make us a little overweight. But an apple pie every once in a while is not going to tip the scales. But those are now we're introducing data into the customer's workflow. Are they satisfied with this data? Does it cause a change in their workflow now that we're introducing these recommendations to them? Do
Mhm.
they take our suggestions? Have we been able to provide value to the business? Are we seeing higher margins per ticket, per purchase? Are we
Mm.
seeing higher total ticket prices? Are we able to really develop that two-way relationship
Mm.
where customers appreciate the recommendations and the recommendations serve the core strategic needs of the business?
Mm.
It's enormous. These are long-term initiatives. If they start intentionally,
Mm-hmm.
these initiatives progress more quickly and they're lower cost. When they happen accidentally, like the McDonald's example, it
Mm-hmm.
takes a long time to realize where your opportunities are. And sometimes you have to forklift and change what you put in place at first in order to support those additional opportunities to introduce data analytics and more reliable models into the workflow.
Mm.
You provide value to customers inefficiently at first, and then you have to spend more than you should because we didn't plan these from the very beginning. We didn't have a holistic strategy guiding all of these decisions across the enterprise. The person who decided we are going to put a big screen TV in there did not have a strategy that even informed them to say, maybe I should tell the data folks that I just did this so that they realize they have an opportunity here. Well, why would you do that if you don't have a strategy informing you?
Mm.
So it's huge.
Mm. So that made me thinking of those are so great, so many great examples of how data science, machine learning, and new frameworks with business skills can change everything. But also in those examples, we implement AI and data science on on things on businesses that aren't related, that aren't data products. And something bothered me lately. I'm at the beginning of my career, so it might just be my lack of experience and my need to build things I have values. But when I think of business ideas and when I want to build data projects, and I don't want to. Um, I do a consultant job, so I do have to think of what you shared, and how to improve processes and how to add values and reduce cost, all of that. But when I want to build for myself a web application, for example, I always struggle so hard to thinking of the products because there are so many great people out there. I feel like NLP is the main thing where so many things need to be built using NLP more than ever with the new OpenAI APIs. But I feel like today, building from scratch, it's easier to improve processes than to build a data project. I want to ask you, how do you feel about this? And if you have ideas of data projects, or how would you build something from scratch that adds value today?
Start with most startups in the data space start by solving their own problems first.
Hmm.
You'll find in data science, if you have a problem, there's probably 100 other people that have the exact same problem or the exact same struggle. If
Hmm.
you want to build something from the ground up, build to solve your products, but don't make the mistake that most startups make.
Hmm.
Build it to be big enough to expand to meet other ways of doing things, to meet other people's needs, because you're
Hmm.
not going to be the only customer.
Hmm.
You're the customer you understand best. So that first prototype and first implementation, it's built to service your need. And then you
Hmm.
begin to build a community around the solution. If it's novel, if it's truly a solution that's first to market or first of its kind or best in class, you'll start having people almost immediately gravitate towards your solution. But
Hmm.
don't make the mistake of assuming that that's your entire customer base.
Hmm.
More people will want to use something similar to your product, but they'll need it to work in different ways. They'll
Hmm.
have different needs. And at some point, once you've figured out that initial target market, you need to start pivoting and looking at it from a bigger picture perspective. Who else can we service? Who else needs this, but with a slightly different tact to it?
Hmm.
Most companies, the mistake they make is when they start to scale, they try to scale for themselves and they don't realize there aren't enough of them type customers out there to
Hmm.
help their business scale. They also don't realize that the product that got them to this point is not the product that will take them to the next stage of servicing an even larger market. So they
Hmm.
don't talk to customers. Sometimes when they talk to customers, they think, okay, we're going to service everyone all at once. And we're going to implement all of these new features and make this thing amazing for everyone. That's also the wrong way to go. It's just picking another group that you're passionate about and that you understand really, really well and that you connect with, and
Mm,
then building for them, and then just iterating. And it sounds like I'm talking about this big startup idea and this only applies to startups, but no, this applies if you're doing this in a business too. You
mm,
find those customers that you understand the best. That's why I say diverse backgrounds for data scientists are incredible. If you come
mm,
out of marketing, you understand marketers, you know what they need, start with them, talk with them, see what they need, build some solutions that you connect with and that the marketing team loves to use. Because
mm,
when you're a data scientist and you're passionate about your customers and your users, you build very high value solutions because there's a
mm,
almost a caring. It's the wrong word, but you feel a connection to your customers. You connect with providing solutions. And you'll move
mhm,
beyond technology at that point. You're willing to put technology on the back burner to deliver the best solution to their problem because you're
mhm,
more interested in solving the problem than you are applying a specific technology. But it's
mm,
like I said with continuous transformation, the simplest, easiest digital solution, it has a journey, it has a trajectory where you've introduced a simple solution, it meets your customers' needs, they like it, they enjoy using it, you're able to gather data, and you're building a platform. Whether you know it or not, you're on this long journey to building a platform,
mm,
incrementally handling more of their needs, more of their workflows, providing value to them in new ways, collecting data in new ways about new parts of the way that they use your product, understanding what's really useful to them, what needs improving, what you shouldn't have built in the first place, what needs to be abandoned altogether. You start being able to do experiments where you deliver them a feature or an improvement. You see
mm,
how they interact with it. Did it actually achieve the outcome that you expected it to? And delivering features or improving models becomes an experiment. It's a treatment or an
mm,
intervention. And you can, using the platform, figure out what the impact on your customers is.
mm,
But you can see how that love for customers and that connection with a customer, it could drive this whole thing. You'll want to gather data about them. Why? You have a connection with them. You want to meet their needs. You care about how they're using the platform. You care about what they're doing. You want
mm,
these few people that you work with to be delivering the highest value features possible to those people. So you're watching how they use it. And if they don't use a report, I'm either going to say, hey, what do I need to do to make this report better for you?
mm,
Or if you say, well, I just don't use it. Okay, great. I'm going to redirect my resources. We're going to build something even better for you. What do you want me to build next?
mm,
Find those things that you're passionate about, that you find people in the organization who are passionate about. Hire people who are passionate about solving your customers' problems. That's one of the biggest mistakes that organizations make is they hire really smart people,
mm,
but these really smart people are passionate about something totally different. Hire people that are passionate about the products and customers that you have, and they'll learn on the job because they care enough about solving the problem. They'll figure
mm,
it out. Hire smart people who are passionate, great, quick learners, and you will have a very successful data organization. Just start
mm,
caring about the customer. You'll
mm,
find that getting passionate about solving problems is way more rewarding than getting passionate about a technology because technologies are transient. You'll be learning new programming languages
yeah.
and new infrastructure components and new model approaches and architectures. You have a long enough career, you might even be learning new types of math. We might be inventing new math here pretty soon. We're going to be learning for the rest of our careers, so we might as well learn about stuff we enjoy.
Mm. So many great insights from what you just said that will surely help me in developing my web applications, and I hope that will help also people listening. Let us know if you're implementing at the moment those tips. I feel like the main things I really liked is just always talk, to always share with the community around what you're building, and get as soon as possible one thing in production, get feedbacks, change it, rethink it, rebuild it, add a new feature, scale. and like going back and forth and always talk with the community. I feel like this is the best advice because like when we're very tech, when we're very good at software engineering, a lot of the time, as you said, it's we lose track of what are the needs and why are we doing what we're doing, and we're only focused on I want these specific models to do this specific thing. I want to do this architecture, that architecture to work this way. But sometimes the priority is in terms of back and forth between the stakeholder, and so I will surely apply all these tips. Um, you said so many more things that I enjoy. I will need to re-listen to the podcast myself. I would like to ask you about one thing that you told me is very important to you. It's education. So, um, so today we see the like how the system work, like high school and college, and what are being taught to us. Basically, how would you change it? Or in other words, what is your point of view on what people need to learn today? What are essential things that would allow people to enhance their capabilities and grow faster and learn more interesting things? Can you share with us about education?
I want to say that from a cultural standpoint and national standpoint, I think every
Mm,
group and country have different challenges when it comes to education. So there's no one right solution. There's also no single problem that we need to solve. We have a lot of them. With that as the starting point, I think we need to go backwards and say, okay,
mm,
what's the purpose of education? What are we trying to accomplish? Education should help us to do more than just regurgitate facts.
mhm,
Education should do more than prepare us for a single job.
mm,
We have to break it down to something more fundamental to humanity, to who we are, than a profession or a set of knowledge that we need to pass down for some reason. Because we really don't. What's important about this? What about this connects with the people, especially kids? What connects with kids in a way that will make them want to learn for the rest of their lives?
mhm,
Education isn't one time. You don't graduate from high school, go to college, graduate, and you're done. Education's every day for the rest of your life. Our careers are bigger than we can understand when we first start. If you're 22 years old and you now work to the average American retirement age, you have a 50-year career. That means at my age, I'm halfway. I'm just hitting the halfway point of my career. The distance I've traveled between 22 and today, I have the same distance in front of me to travel, and I will make that change, that
mm,
big of a change and growth in that amount of time. We don't educate that way. We educate like there's some kind of finish line. So that's what I would first start with, is to say that you don't need to graduate from high school at 18. Who cares? You still have at 18 probably about 50 years to 55 years of career in front of you.
mm,
If you graduate at 19, who cares? If you graduate at 20, who cares? If you don't graduate from college until 30, who cares? Why are we going for degrees at a certain time?
mhm,
If you want to start working at 15, why not? I know software engineers that start working at 15, 16, though their parents usually are people that own companies.
mhm,
They'll bring them on as software engineers and have them working, building applications. They built
mhm,
some really impressive stuff, especially when you partner them up with very senior mentors. If you want
mm,
to take a break from high school to do something, why don't we let people do that?
mm,
Why don't we let them take on these technical apprenticeships or real world apprenticeships? If a kid wants to be a veterinarian, why not? If at 12 they want to spend a year working at an animal shelter or
mhm,
working with a veterinarian as an assistant, why don't we let them? That's education. That's real world education happening. We're always afraid, oh, they're going to fall a year behind. Seriously? Who cares? What does it matter? They can go back next year. The education will still be there. We need to break the way that we teach people to learn. We need to look at it as there's no end point. I think we need to get rid of degrees and diplomas because that
Mm,
indicates some sort of final where you finished it and you're done. But we don't do that. We're never done learning anything.
mm,
Expertise is what you can apply, and deep expertise is what you can teach. We
mm,
need to look at education as cyclical. You learn, you apply, you teach.
mm,
That's the only way education becomes sustainable. We don't have enough teachers, either in the academic world, in primary and secondary education, in businesses. We don't have enough teachers and mentors. There
mm,
need to be evangelists, there need to be instructors. I
mm,
mean, AI instructor, AI literacy trainer, those are roles we need. We need someone
mm,
who goes around and just teaches people who are interested in data science anything they want to know. You want a class? We got a professor on staff. What would you like us to put in the curriculum for you? We need to start getting that curious in businesses. We need to give people access to curriculum and to instructors in the business, people who have done this forever. We have these distinguished engineers who are at my stage or even further into their career. Why are we having them work on projects? Don't have them just floating around teaching stuff,
mm,
almost like they're drifting. They get to look at everything and see what's going on and show up and schedule time on a meet, on the calendar with the people that are working on a project and say, "Hey, let me teach you something. It's going to be important. You're going to need to know this because there's parts here you're not seeing yet. So I need to teach them to you so you can do this better." We
mm,
need to get that way in companies. We have, with technology and with the pace of change, we've broken so much of the previous paradigms where education was one of the things that used to work this way and it no longer does. And the more we get away from logical, repetitive tasks and workflows, the more we automate those and
mhm,
we get into intelligent workflows where people are using their intelligence, creativity, the ability to take knowledge and things that they've learned and synthesize them to novel situations and scenarios, those things
mm,
that models just can't do very well. We need to teach people different capabilities. It's not about working on an assembly line anymore. We do something completely different, but we're still teaching people to memorize facts. I got Google. I don't need to memorize what happened in the War of 1812. I don't need to remember exact events in the Battle of Bastogne. I can Google that. I can Google so much of this stuff. Why am I memorizing anything? I need to understand what the lessons, what the underlying patterns, practices,
mm,
principles, what are those things? That's what I need to understand. I need to be taught to synthesize my knowledge, to
mm,
handle situations that I've never seen before, potentially that my professor's never seen before. And I
mm,
design classes that way. That's why I teach frameworks, systems, models, because I don't know what you're going to see in the next 5 years. And if I make you memorize a set of facts and call it good, I've failed you as a teacher.
mm,
I think we need to rebuild education.
mm. That's fascinating. My long-term goal, and I share with the people speaking, is like, what can I build around education, like building schools, like
Hmm.
where are the most important location to build schools, so that the most people can access to the schools, or how what is the teaching method, how are you going to teach things. And what you're saying is very true, because I think in the system as it is, education is, you're smart when you deduce the concepts or the architectures behind what you're being taught, and so you're able to see it in what you're going to learn after. But when at some point, because of the background, the family you grew up in, or everything, you can catch those first concepts, those first frameworks, and identify them. Then, when you go to frameworks more advanced, you're trying to assimilate all this knowledge, and it's way harder to understand it if you don't understand the pattern. Because if you understand the pattern, you understand the why. And I feel like this why thing is a huge thing, and this is super insightful. And I'm all ears to what are your AI applications in the future, so that we can really help to give everyone access to education and degrees. And really, I really liked what you said about we really focus on having very good degrees and going to very good schools, so that we're in a certain group of people, which is true. It gives some access to certain things,
Hmm.
but enhancing those values from wherever you are, being able to get those knowledge, those skills, understand those concepts, I feel like this is really where we need to go. And um, and I'm really interested to hear more about that, from your point of view. I will surely look into your classes and your framework things. Um, so, regarding what I just said, do you have any vision of the future of AI, whether it's around education, global warming, healthcare, and more general AI in the future?
One of the parts of AI that I'm most excited about, when you said, the why part of it's causal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We do so badly as people. As good as we are at finding cause and effect and understanding cause and effect, we are extremely bad at forward looking and prescriptive thinking.
Mm.
And I talked about this with careers. The reason why we don't teach correctly and really we don't develop people correctly is because we don't understand the connectivity.
Mm.
We don't understand the long term impacts for the business, for the individual. We simply don't see them. I look at data science and machine learning as a way of revealing those
Mm.
longer time scale impacts, providing us with insights to, if I eat this donut today, what are the long term impacts of this
Mm.
donut decision?
Yeah.
Because we don't think that way. We really don't. We don't look at the historical and the potential. What is this setting me up for in
Mm.
the future if I have one donut? We think, oh, how bad can one donut be? Most times it's fine, and we shouldn't beat ourselves up over having a donut from time to time. Every once in a while, it's the sign of something else that's going on, and we don't see the bigger picture. I
Mm.
look at AI as being able to help us see that. So, not giving our decisions over to a model of any sort, but allowing the model to inform us about what might happen.
Mm.
What are our alternatives? What would be a better choice? Really handling complexity for us. Maybe tell me why I'm craving a donut right now. What kind of feelings am I eating right now when I eat this donut? What am I
Mm.
trying to escape? What I don't want, what is it that I
Mm.
don't want to feel right now that's causing me to eat a donut? All of
Mm.
these deeper trends about ourselves are things that data can reveal to us. And they can
Mm.
help us live a better life. They can help businesses make better long-term decisions. And you realize how important it is for employees to be able to learn and continuously develop quickly. Hiring an entry level person based on the knowledge that they've memorized, if you're looking at keeping them for more than 3 years, our current assessment methods are useless. They're almost counterproductive. We're encouraging behaviors that do not lead to long term, high value employee outcomes.
Mm.
So we're almost hiring at the entry level for all the wrong things. Businesses are fortunate when they do get high performers who manage to escape that way of thinking that's really focused on memorization and knowledge that's static. There is a right answer. There's no such thing. There's an answer based on best available information. Come on. We're going to
Mm.
figure out new things later. We're going to find out better later. We just
Mm.
act on what we've got in front of us. I think machine learning can help us there to realize the ridiculousness of some of the frameworks that we've put in place some of the expectations we have for ourselves. And as we exist on longer timescales,
Hmm.
machine learning can help us manage a lifespan on long timescales, a business on long timescales, initiatives that don't last 6 weeks, initiatives that last 6 to 10 years.
Hmm.
Those can't be managed using our current frameworks, but that's the paradigm we're in. Some
Hmm.
technologies, we will begin the journey on an initiative that will end up building a product 4 years or 3 years from now, but we have to figure out how to get value every few weeks out of the work that we're doing. We can't
Hmm.
wait 3, 4 years to get a return on investment. We have to figure out how to get, and so it's that connection between short term value and long term responsibility, setting up
Hmm.
for success in the future, but also delivering incrementally on a regular basis. Having a donut from time to time, but not having it every Saturday. There's there are these trade-offs and considerations that I think models can help us come to terms with. They can help us reduce complexity or deal with complexity and reduce
Hmm.
uncertainty. I think that
Hmm.
that's what I'm most excited about is the concept of human machine teaming, where we use them to deal with the realities that are more complex than we're used to.
Hmm. This is what I was referring before. Human. Wait. Let me. Human machine teaming. Right? Is it
Yep.
correct? Did I say it correct? Okay, cool. I've heard you talk about on the podcast the data scientist show. Very good podcast. I recommend everyone to
Yes.
give it a listen. Um, Vin, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast, sharing all this expertise with you. I look forward to see more from you. I have three little questions towards like ending this episode. The first one is how do you improve yourself on a daily basis? How do you keep improving yourself?
I keep making mistakes. That's where we think the secret to success is being great and
Hmm.
succeeding. The secret to success is finding out what's broken.
Hmm.
So it really is about doing really difficult things, stretching your capabilities, trying and failing, but not
Hmm.
failing intentionally, failing
Hmm.
with a plan. So what do you do? Okay, I'm detecting failure. What do I do? And that's
Hmm.
the improvement cycle.
Hmm.
You want to be able to detect failure faster. You want to see it happening versus after it happens and terrible things go wrong. So you
Hmm.
want to prevent failure by seeing it coming, but also get better at figuring out how to fix, how to improve, how to prevent. So,
Hmm.
what are the root causes of the failure you're about to run into? What can
Hmm.
you do to fix? What can you do to improve? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to hire in a lot of cases? I won't ever know everything. Who do I need to work with? Who do I need to ask for help? There's a lot of improvement value in that cycle of getting more forward looking, seeing mistakes coming, finding root causes, determining solutions, really predicting the impact of a change, and then putting that into practice.
Hmm. Awesome. Great. This made me thinking. This whole episode had my mind running. Um, Vin, if for the people who are listening to us right now, they would like to know more about yourself, about your work, what you're doing, your courses, your book that is going to come out. How can people reach out to you or see more of what you do?
You can find me at datascience.vin. That website has all of my links, socials down at the bottom. You scroll to the bottom, you'll find Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
Substack. It's vinvashishta.substack.com. You can find a link to that on datascience.vin as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the easiest ways to come and find more content, learn a little bit more about what I'm working on, taking classes, sending me an email saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Any of those things are definitely welcome.
Great, perfect. And last question. Um, would you have a message? It can be anything. It can be related to AI. It can be a personal something that drives you. I know we talk a lot about that, but do you have any message for everyone that listens?
Follow what you're interested in. Find something you love. Spend as much time trying to find that thing that makes you happy, that you enjoy doing, those concepts you enjoy learning, whatever it is. Find something you're passionate about. Once you do that, the rest of your life will make so much more sense. So find something you really love doing and start collecting things that you love to do.
Find your why. That's a perfect
Yep.
message to end this podcast. Thanks a lot, Vin, for coming on the podcast again. I
Thank you
had
for
such a
having
great
me.
time, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.